Hey everybody, welcome back. This is another edition of Where To Next. So let's just go ahead and get straight into this one. So Belize is in its second state of emergency this year, 2024, due to gang and gun violence. And man, if they don't get ahead of this curve, I don't think it's going to get any better. There are things going on in Belize right now that are unprecedented, and Belizeans aren't used to this boldness, this level of violence that is going on here in Belize, whether it's in broad daylight, late at night, also with who they're targeting. So the state of emergency went into effect after 2 individuals were shot in a vehicle in Belize City, and also after a police station was shot up in Roaring Creek, which is just outside of the capital of Belmopan. Now, there has been some violent crime that's been leading up to that, but it was, in my opinion, it was the shooting of the police station that led to the state of emergency. So with the state of emergency, they pretty much went around and, rounded up a bunch of people. The news says that they rounded up, that they detained about 100 people, is what the news is saying. So, after they went around and they rounded up people, the next day, I know the Compo had a conference in New York City for the UN that he was already scheduled to appear. So he chose to go to that conference rather than staying here in Belize and, trying to stave off this violence that's just getting out of control. So unfortunately, the day that he left, their response, who's ever behind all this violence, their message, their response back to the Compo and the government of Belize was they shot up the Compo's house with his adult son inside, unfortunately, while he was on a plane. So that is something that most Belizeans are not used to, that level of just outright boldness, violence. And if you ask me, that was a pretty stern message that they were sending. That's, who's ever behind this, they're just not afraid, and they're letting it known that they're not afraid. And, you can have your state of emergencies and round up a bunch of gang members and stuff, and, they're just not going to have it here. Unfortunately, so something definitely has to be done. There's a lot of expats in Belize. There's a lot of locals. There's a lot of tourists. There's just a lot going on in Belize. And, Belize just doesn't need this level of violent crime right now. It's sad and it's unfortunate, but Belize, in my opinion, needs the kind of leadership that's going to get it out of this reign, similar to what happened in El Salvador. In my opinion, you can't issue a state of emergency and then just get on a plane and just leave the country. You have to lead by example. Like I said, that's just my opinion, but if a general starts a war, when it comes time to battle, he can't just walk off the battlefield. So hopefully, there's people there that are going to step it up, that are really going to take this serious, that are really going to look out for the citizens of Belize, the people of Belize, the expats that are in Belize, the business owners, the people that are scared to walk the streets, and, get this turned around in the right direction to make this a safe country once again, because the direction that Belize is heading is the wrong direction, especially when they're trying to be on top of, a tourist destination. That's going to hinder it a lot. So I got a bunch of videos lined up for you of what's been going on. So go ahead and watch these videos. Tell me what you think in the comments. Appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please subscribe. I really appreciate everybody out there that's been watching us. And of course, like I said, I'm always going to bring what's going on in Belize to you guys out there, so you guys stay informed, know the truth, and know exactly what's going on. So yes, right now, Belize is under a state of emergency, and the general has left the building. That's pretty much the gist that's going on in Belize right now. So somebody really needs to get behind the wheel. Somebody really needs to take control of this situation, or it's not looking good. So Watch these videos coming up. Let me know what you think in the comments. Have a great one, everybody. Stay blessed.
He was sitting in this chair at 12:30 on Sunday morning, waiting to go on shift at 1 a.m. when he saw a man wearing a hoodie about 75 feet away, just outside the station's gate, in front of a mechanic shop. Leslie was using his phone and thought nothing of it. He absently went back into his phone until he heard the sound of gunshots. He couldn't have imagined anyone was shooting at the station. That's until the splinters of cement from this column hit him in the face. That's when the reality of what was happening struck. He dived to the ground and scrambled to safety inside the station, crawling on his belly. It's fortunate that he did, because if he hadn't, he would have likely been killed by this bullet. In fact, the camouflage jacket he wore was torn by a bullet right below the neckline. Today, we saw 13 bullet holes that pocked the station's outer wall. The marks aren't in anything near to a tight cluster. Some of them are near the roof, some near the ground. But while they might not show a skilled shooter, they do show one who wanted to send a message. He emptied out 18 rounds of 40 caliber ammunition, probably using a prohibited weapon like this, equipped with a switch that makes it fire in quick succession like an automatic weapon.
The car raced into the KHMH emergency lane at around 4:20 on Sunday afternoon. It had a shattered back window and 2 injured passengers. 32-year-old Stanley Moore was dead in the passenger seat, while 27-year-old Joshua Gillett sat in the driver's seat, bleeding out. Minutes earlier, they were driving on Mahogany Street Extension when shots were fired at them near the junction with Manila Drive, and Gillett sped off towards the hospital. But while he is in a critical condition, it was too late for Moore. His younger brother said that it was hard for him to accept when he learned the news.
In search for that individual, as I said, we know who he is, but we have not been able to locate him. We're hoping that pretty soon we will be able to do so. We have gotten additional information. I will not divulge that to the media at this time, surrounding that entire incident. And so, as soon as the investigation is at a level where we believe we can share certain things with you, then we'll do so.
Can you explain to us why Cotton Tree is included in the SOE?
We do have a number of elements who are originally from Growing Creek, but they have moved over and take up residence in Cotton Tree. And those people are among the group of persons who are terrorizing that entire western corridor. They commit burglaries, robberies, shootings from Cotton Tree all the way to the border area. And so it is important for us to be able to capture those persons as a part of the SOE. Had we just left Growing Creek and not Cotton Tree, then they could always say that they no longer live in Growing Creek, but now live in Cotton Tree. And detaining them would be a violation of their rights. So capturing Cotton Tree brings them into the fray and makes it better for us to be able to deal with them.
A massive deployment of police officers swarmed and stormed the streets of Belize City as another state of emergency was affected. This one not only encompasses the south side of the city, but also the jungle area of the north side, 2 areas of Growing Creek, and the entire Cotton Tree village in Nakayo district. Since the operation began, the Compol explained that the police have made 2 arrests and detained over 60 persons.
We started operations since yesterday, and we have been able to detain a number of persons who were wanted for murders. As you'll see on our media blog, we had shared with you yesterday the arrest of 2 individuals. One was arrested for the murder of Elwin Lewis, which took place a couple months ago. That person had been on the run for a number of months from us, and we were able to locate him yesterday. And we also charged, I think, Marcus Kanaki for the murder of the guy Moore, who was killed on Sunday during the day. So those 2 individuals were captured as a part of these operations, and we have also detained a number of other persons who the GI3 will be looking at for a gang investigation, and a number of persons who are wanted by CIB for different investigations as well.
The SOE has also so far led to the discovery of several weapons.
The police have recovered a number of firearms and ammunition within the Belize district and the Cayo area. I must say that since we started our operations in the Salinaso Santa Elena area, the team there have seized at least about 4 firearms and a number of ammunition. So it goes to show the work that the police has been doing in those areas to be able to crack down on the issue of crime.
According to the Compol, the SOE will last for 1 month in the first instance and may be extended up to 3 months. Have always been critiqued as being a failure of policing strategies and being a band-aid solution. You lock up these criminals for 1 to 3 months. I assume this one is about 3 months, and then you let them out. They settle down for a little while, but then it just starts up again.
That's a critique from your news director, right? Come on, we have to be real, right? That's the narrative of Channel 7. And again, we respect your opinion, but at the end of the day, as a law enforcement organization, and the primary one at that in Belize, we have a responsibility to the people. And if it is that we have to implement measures that is going to work for a period of time until we can look at longer lasting measures, then it is going to happen. I believe that the SOE will work for the purpose for which it is being implemented. And again, it has a lot to do with making sure that we go after the right people. And that's the reason why we have our intelligence unit put together a list of persons who we have credible information against are involved in the ongoing feuds across the city. I am sure that you will be quite comfortable. Once the peace comes, when all these people are in prison, you'll be able to walk the streets how you want without having to be worried to be caught by a straightaway bullet. That is what we want. Citizen security is important for everybody, including you and your news director.
But what do you think will happen in 3 months? These men in prison, they get agitated, they lose their jobs, they can't make money, they're not seeing their families. What do you think happens after the 3 months?
I'm not a fortune teller. I can't see what happened in 3 months' time. But at the end of the day, I can tell you what will happen between now and the 3 months period is that we will do what needs to be done to keep the criminals at bay. They need to get the sense that we have had enough. And if the 3 months come and they come out and they come and do foolishness, then they're going back again. It's as simple as that.
Paul, you're saying you're going to an international conference. Do you get any feedback on these SOEs the same way I imagine people would comment in relation to what El Salvador is doing?
Hey, you think that Bukele is the most influential world leader for no reason? You think so? Come on, Marisol. SOEs is something that many countries in the regions are looking at because they have seen how effective it has worked in Salvador. And every government want the people to be safe, want the people to be free. Our government is no different. Landing in New York, I got a call from my son who was at home. But the data that you purchase on plane do not allow you for voice calls. You can only text. So I could not have answered his call. So I messaged him and said to him, I'm in flight. Can you text? And he texted me quickly and said that shots were being fired at the house. I right away forwarded the message to the Belmapan police station and asked them to have the police respond immediately. And I directed my son not to come out, to stay inside the house, secured until the police would arrive there. The police mobilized more and conducted interviews and operations, and quickly they were able to apprehend a suspect, along with the firearm which we believe to have been used in the incident. The firearm is a .45 caliber pistol. If they think that I am going to be perturbed or intimidated by their action, then they have the wrong man. So I will say to those lawless people in the West, yo, spread your bed, you're asleep on it. That's what my grandmother used to tell us. So they must expect what is going to come to them, because we're not going to back down. We're not going to be distracted. We will press forward and will do so hard. They need to get the sense. Enough is enough. The police will be in full force, making sure that we pursue every one of them